Hello everyone, welcome back to iTech Solutions interactive video sessions. In today's video, we are going to see how to edit the distance and time axis in TILOS. So before we go into it, let us first understand how the main working area of TILOS operates. So go ahead and press the two blue lines and one red line, which means the page display width and the display page height buttons. So what it does is, as you can see below, the entire output or the main working area of the TILOS, the time distance diagram chart, is completely visible in your view. So when you see the main working area, you can see that this is like a graph sheet. So the middle area where I am clicking now is the time location chart or the time location diagram. So there are so many other ways to describe it. So how does this time location chart work? As you see, this is like a graph. The current x-axis is the distance and the y-axis is the time. So whatever you plot between the distance and the time is a point here. So as TILOS is a two-dimensional planning software, this helps us in representing both the distance parameter and the time parameter of any activity across this area. So we go above and press the display view map. This shows or explains much better how TILOS works. So you can see the blue color on the top or all around the sheet is the border. The red ones show the distance, the green one shows the time, and the yellow one is our time distance diagram. So you can see these yellow and green lines which are linking it. So which basically means any distance scale or the distance axis and the time axis you define are integrated into the center portion of this. So this is how when you add every cell, every row or every column in TILOS, we have to ensure that the scale or the cell is defined so that the final output is in the terms of a time distance diagram. So how do we do it? So we'll go back and toggle on off the display map view and you will come back to the old one. So you can zoom in by pressing Control and scroll, or we can always use the zoom button on the top as well. And you also have a hand or the drag mode which helps you move in between the sheet. So this is also a toggle on, toggle off button. First, I'm going to double click on the distance axis. In distance axis, you can see there is a predefined set of scales or parameters available. Also on the time axis as well. So if you want to edit this or you want to add it, how do we do it? So first, in TILOS, we can add a row or a column very simply. So first, select on the cell which you want to see. You can see there is a violet color highlight around the cell. And then we go above, near to the filter button, you can see there is a small drop down button. So I am pressing this. You can see a small drop box of various options are appearing. In this, if you hover on top of each, you can find this is an add row. The red X mark denotes a delete row, add a column, delete a column. And the next four set of buttons is called as the glue button. So which is something similar to the merging of cells in Excel. So each option, as it says, glue to the left, glue to the right, glue the top, above or up, and glue to the bottom. And the final one, which is not available, is the unglue button, which will be activated only when you click a glued cell. So we are going ahead and pressing, as you can see, the first add row option. The plus is at the bottom, which means whatever cell you are selecting and you press the add row bottom, a row will be added to the bottom of it. So I'm pressing this. And at the bottom, you can see that a new row has been added. So this row can be, again, you have to select it. You can either glue the cell or you can delete it, or again, you want to add another row to the bottom of it, you can press this. Please always remember, whatever is the cell you are selecting, if you want to add a row, it will always add at the bottom. And if you see the column, it will always add a column to the right. So if you want to go to the leftmost extreme and you want to add, please be sure that you are selecting the border. So the border is nothing but the blue line which we showed in the display map view. So you can see it is selected here. You select this and then go to the add option and you can add a column. You can see a new column has been added to the left of it. So how to delete it? It is very simple. Again, select any of the cell in that row or column. Go back to this and press the delete column button. Yes. Please note that you cannot delete individual cells in TILOS, but only rows and columns as a whole. So now let us see the glue option as well. Select the row here, go back and press glue to the left cell. And you can see this cell has been glued. And if you want to unglue it at any point of time, you can use the fourth or the last option, sorry, the fifth option, unglue, and you can see the cells have got split up. Also, you can glue only one cell on the right, bottom, top at one juncture of time, and always remember that you have to glue an empty cell or an undefined cell. So what is an undefined cell? So go back to our display map view on the top. You can see that all the cells which are having a color are linked one way or the other to the time distance diagram, including the blue, which is the border. But you can see all the white color or undefined cells available here, which needs to be linked manually. So how do we do that? Before selecting any scale, toggle off, I am going back here, and you double click, and you can see at the bottom of the screen there is a detailed object toolbar. In this you can see a cell type. There are various number of cells which you can define or configure in a TILOS. One is time cell, the other is a distance cell, the time distance cell, of course, the graphic cell, the various types of Gantt chart with respect to time and distance, Moss haulage diagrams, and dashboards. And dashboards for allocations is nothing but your plan versus actual, which is a unique feature of TILOS. So for now, I'm going to select empty and define the cell type of the selected new row or the new cell which we have added through the wizard. Always remember to use the cell wizard to create a new cell content, because that gives you all the options rather than just selecting it here. Most of the times when you select from the drag down, lot of options go into default, and many of the times you will not be able to get the desired result you want. So go ahead, click the cell wizard button. You can see the cell type again, the dialog box appears. I'm going to select a distance cell here. Please bear in mind, this is not mandatory that the x-axis has to be distance and the y has to be time. It can also be reversed. So this is depending on how you want to visually represent your project, and you can show. So normally in linear projects, the distance is shown across the x-axis or the horizontally, and it goes across through the time. So coming back, we have defined it as a distance cell type, pressing OK. Once you go, the next dialog box appears and it says display existing cell content. If you select thing, you can already see that whatever has been earlier selected is available. But since it is a new one, we are going ahead and selecting the next option, creating and display a new cell content. In this, you can again see the same options are available again, the new distance scale, a resource bar chart, a histogram, and a distance profile diagram. Now what we are defining is a scale or the distance axis. So select the insert checkbox and press OK. You can see the third option where it goes is distance master cell. These are the points which will not be available if you go down at the bottom through the drop down box. It is always better to define clearly what is your requirement. You can see the distance master scale is being directly linked to the time distance diagram which is available. So this is the only default time distance diagram available. In case you have multiple projects or you're working on multiple time distance scales for different requirements, you will find a lot of other options where every time you want to link it, it will be. So this is the linking part which we saw in the distance map view. Clicking and press OK. Now you can see a default scale has already appeared. Just in case to check if everything is linked to the time distance diagram, go back to the top and use the display map view. You can see earlier whatever was in white has been linked. So what we have done is we have linked it to this time distance project. In case you want to refer some other time distance project, we can also link it when we have multiple projects. So how to edit? So when we wanted to edit the first scale axis, we are going from scratch and not deleting this or editing the same axis for you to give a comparative idea of how easy it is to configure it here. So I'm going ahead and clicking here. And once you select, you can see at the bottom, there are 3 tabs available. One is for the chart object, next is for the position, and third is for defining your distance scale. So this defining your distance scale is where most of the configuration activities happen if you want to do it. So you can see the distance label is already available here and it is there. Go ahead and double click it. You can see a property toolbar appearing. So here I'm going to name it as kilometers. Let us try to replicate whatever is on the top. At the bottom in the label, always select everything and delete it. And you can see that insert a token by pressing F8 key. TILOS automatically shows how to configure this or where to go so that you will not. So I'm pressing the function 8 or F8 key, and you can see there are three options. So either I can take the references or I'm configuring it from the distance profile token, the sector profile token, or the distance. So plus, and you can see various options for kilometer, kilometer plus, meters, meter in kilometer, and centimeters. So centimeter is shown here. Now I'm going to select kilometer option here, and you can see what is the interval here. So since we are taking a kilometer option, I'm going to take it as 1000. So every kilometer I want to represent it like how we have done at the back. You can select the distance unit in meter. So if you want the distance unit to be in kilometer as well, you click, automatically TILOS will understand and change the interval to 1. So if it is going to be in meters, you will see it is in 1000. So either way we can select the same. Here you can see a lot of options like width, height, placements, alignment, what is the rotation of the text, the font name, font size, color. You can also have other options of style, like you can bold your text, italics or underlined. And you can also see at the bottom as additional options of 0 point. You can add an equation as told, a distance or a sector profile. Since we have not created any distance or a sector profile or an equation, we are going ahead with the basic items. And also in presentation, you can see all this background color, everything can be changed. So please bear in mind that all the options available can also be edited from the detailed object toolbar or in the distance scale properties setup box by double clicking. So just basics, I am going ahead and pressing OK at the bottom. You can see the same time scales have already appeared here. So what are the other things we can check here? You can see at the bottom the name is defined here, the label, the interval. You can change the interval here and you can make it, or you want to change the unit into meter, kilometer here. You can also have the text rotation. You can see on the top when we press, the text has rotated on its own. The same can be done. So sorry, if you double click on the same thing, the dialog box is going to appear. So let us operate only from here, text. You can also toggle the display on and off. You can see no ruler visible. So example, you have multiple options here and you want to toggle between the display, you can add. The text placement and text alignment are nothing but your center justification, right justification available. So you can always put before the line or on the line. You can see the text is literally on the line or the distance lines. So you can toggle between lot of options based on your requirement. For now I'm using the after line option. You can change the font size. You can toggle from here, or as I said, you can do it, you can even make it to 22. You can see it is not visible simply because of the fact that your width and the height is not visible here. So I'm changing the width. You can see on the top that the width, once you change the height of the cell, you can see. And also if you don't want to, we can always undo on the top. And the font type can also be with a predefined set of fonts available here. You can select anything to your requirements. As I told, italics, bold. So text color, let us make it to red. You can see it has already changed to the red color. Line colors and also the background. If you want to add any background to this, you can add here as well. So all the options available already predefined are available here in the detail object toolbar for immediate changes you want to reflect, or in the detail object toolbar. Now how to add a new item? Again, select here, ensure that the define distance tab is on, and come to the right. You can see adding a new line. So I'm going ahead and pressing it. Let us put it as meters and delete it. Again, press the function F8 token key. You can see the option here. Either you can show it as kilometer plus or in meters. So I'm selecting meters here. Every 200 meters we wanted to. So let us make it every 250 meters. And I'm keeping all the other options similar, where we can any point of time we can change, and I'm pressing OK. You can see the meter has come as 0, 250, 500, 750, 1000, and it goes on. So what happens is, when you have a very big scale and you don't just want to show, already you have a kilometer scale and this looks very tedious, that 2000 and 3000, 250, 3500, there is another option which is called as the kilometer plus. So now we are going back here. I am double clicking here. You can see the label. Go back, delete the label, and press again F8 key option. So F8, you can see kilometer plus. or meter in kilometer. So kilometer plus is going to show in terms of a chain age. So 1 plus 000. So I'm going to select the meter and kilometer option like above and press OK. Now you can see this cell is defined between 1 to 2 kilometers, and the bottom just shows the various options. So this is similar what the default also shows looks like, and you can always come to the bottom and change the text rotation here as well. So we can change the line height to 1 and you can see the same, or you can reduce the font size here as well. So I'm going ahead and selecting the text rotation at the bottom and reducing it to 8. So here to 6, and you can almost see the same options available. So since font size 6 is not much legible, I'm going ahead with 8, and for now I want this to look like this. Also, there are other options, as you can see in the text alignment. If you want it aligned to the center, top or bottom, so you can select any of the options and you can see the various changes that appear here. So you can also select the before line, after line, on the line. So you can see automatically 250 comes before the line and it's 1 kilometer. So any option according to your requirement, you can always change it, and the color and text as well. So this is how you define a distance scale. Now coming to the time scale, you can see there is a time scale already available here. So double click, the same set of rules apply for this as well, but here you can see already existing. So what we are going to do now is we are going to edit this availability here to a different format. So you can see there are 3 lines available, but whereas only 2 set of parameters are defined. So what could be wrong here? No, there is nothing wrong. You can see that the display option for the third one is on toggle mode. So this is how normally it happens, where you have multiple items configured here or different scales configured here, and for your different type of outputs or presentations you want to extract out, you can toggle between whatever you want to show, whatever you don't want to show. Maybe you want to show only the month, year and the days, but you don't want to see the calendar week, or vice versa. So you can change anything according like that. So first let us go ahead. I'm going to, and one of the most important option, you want to delete any line, select, and you can press the X or the delete button on the right of your screen, you can delete it. So first option, I am going ahead, double clicking it. You can see here the month and the year are here. So I am going ahead and pressing year, deleting it, and I want to configure it from first using the F8 token key. The dialog box appears similar to what we saw there in distance and time, because the only change will be, instead of the distance units, you have a time units and time profile tokens. So I'm going ahead and pressing time. In this, we wanted to check years. You can see a lot of options like for day, D, DD, MI. This is nothing but the date formats, DD, YY formats, and how it represents. So I'm coming down all the way and I want to show the year. So let's show it as 2022. I'm pressing the last option for here. So every interval, every month I want to show, every 6 months I want to show, or every year I want to show, I can add it here. Since we have defined our time scale only for this, so what I'm going to do is every month I'm going to select for now, and the 0 point, as you can see, I'm changing the 0 point since it is a time frame, it is in 2009. Keep clicking onto the right side of any future date and you will get to the year 2022 April 1st. So April 1st, I'm selecting all the other options are also applicable here, going ahead and pressing OK. You can see it has changed every year, it is showing as 2022. So if you want to show only for 1 year the entire, that is also possible. Let us see that in a minute's time. Now I'm going ahead and selecting the next one, where I don't want a week here, but I want to see the month. So month, I'm deleting it, pressing F8 token again, and you can see month. So month, I'm selecting the 3 options, so which will show us APR, JN or MAY, so only the first 3 letters of the month. You can click again. Here you can see the unit interval is 1 and the unit is not week, but we want it every month again. Go ahead, select the 0 point one more time, changing it to 1st of April 2022, and I'm pressing OK. So you can see that some data is not seen. That is simply because of the font size and the cell size. So there are 2 ways to do it, as we saw earlier. You can change the width to 1 or 0.8 accordingly, or the other option is undoing, go and rotate the text. So you can see every month it has come. So how do you want to show for another year? What we are going to do is we are going to select the time distance scale, and when we selected the project parameters, we defined it from 1st of April. The detailed object toolbar at the bottom, you can see it is from 1st April to 30/9/2022. So I'm going to select this to 2023, 1 year later, and you can see the entire scale is shown as 2022. So how do we change this again? Click here, come to the unit here in the interval. I'm going to select to and make it to year. Now you can see it looks very legibly that all the months under 2022 is seen like this and 2023 is seen like this. Similarly, you wanted to add for weeks, you want to add for days, we can add. But however, please bear in mind, this is like a chart, and when we toggle between the chart or when we scroll or zoom in, zoom out based on the time frame, the visibility range comes very down. So normally it is advisable that we do all the activities in terms of months, maybe project weeks. There are certain projects where you want to see the calendar week, how it was already there. You can add the weeks as well, and you can do. Also, one of the most important features is you can see these small triangles or the margin buttons, which I keep changing. This is very useful, where you press and click on it, click on this thing, and you can hold it and change it. So what happens is when you want to do any margin changes, you can do those changes using these buttons, and you can also adjust it accordingly to make your sheet or your time distance scale look much better. So what is the advantage? This is similar to how we operate in Excel, where all the data is seen. Also, you can see uh, there is a distance axis on the top and there is a time axis on the left, but also on the right you can see another time scale which is defined. Normally, to your convenience, you can make distance and time scales on both the sides, which makes it easier for you to read. At many points of time, lot of people do not change it, they want only on a L shape, or if you want to still have it on both the sides based on how you want to read it, the same procedure applies. You have to click here, or you go back and you can see that the green colors are the time scales. So you can see that green colors on either side are the time scale, and these time scales have to be defined separately. These are not linked to one another, and you can see the calendar weeks are available here. So suddenly you just want to show your calendar week here, we can go ahead. Let us change the height to 1. First, let us define the 0 point. The 0 point is from 2022 March the 1st. So what happens is the 0 point starts from here, and you can also see the calendar week is very small. That is why it is not able to show what are the numbers available in it. So we can go ahead and reduce the time scale from the time location chart. I'm going to reduce it back by 1 year, like how we had done it, 30th November, and you can automatically see it has become visible. The reason being, the more the data goes micro, the calendar week has its own problem. So you can see that the calendar week, since it is a calendar week and the project week, so from the 14th week of the calendar is your start date of the project, and you can see the 39th week of the calendar year is the end of your project. So this way you can have multiple data which can be added on either side, and you can represent it. So this is how you edit your time and distance axis on TILOS. See you in the next video, guys. Thank you.